Hearing in federal court today to set a trial date in the case against Patrick Crusius ended with more questions than answers. Crusius is accused of killing 23 people in the August 3rd Cielo Vista Walmart mass shooting. This is October 10th, 2019, video that we're about to show you of Crusius when he entered a not guilty plea. That was the last time we saw him in court. Crusius waived his right to attend today's hearing. Both federal prosecutors and Crusius defense attorneys told federal judge David Guadarrama they need more time before they can go to trial. Federal prosecutors say they can be ready to try the case in 2023, but have not officially announced they are seeking the death penalty. Right now, defense attorneys say the earliest they could be ready to defend Crusius is in 2025, 6 years after the shooting. Crusius attorney Joe Spencer says the pandemic has presented challenges in the gathering of information needed to proceed with trial.
Well, the obvious, being able to communicate with people, with all the investigation that needs to be done, getting out in the field. I mean, the pandemic is new, right? It hasn't happened in 100 years, so everybody's having to deal with these issues.
Have you met with Patrick Crusius, and what is his demeanor right now?
Have we met with Patrick? Absolutely, we met with Patrick.
What is his demeanor right now?
That's confidential.
Judge Guadarrama says he will set another hearing date to see if both sides can agree on a trial date.
Now to extra depth, context, and perspective on the August 3rd shooting case. We'll now explain why you may feel like it's taking a long time for the Crusius trial to start. So let's begin with why it is that the federal government has not decided whether to seek the death penalty in this case. It may be due to an overhaul happening within the Biden administration. A New York Times article pointed out that the administration is changing how it handles cases when capital punishment is considered. The U.S. Attorney General has the final decision on whether to seek the death penalty in a federal case. That person at the moment is Merrick B. Garland, who has been the AG since March of last year. The New York Times noted 3 things that may show why this administration may be changing how it handles the death penalty. First, he issued a moratorium in September, stopping executions of federal prisoners. It will be in effect while the Justice Department reviews policies and procedures. The moratorium doesn't necessarily prevent the U.S. from seeking the death penalty in untried cases. However, the Attorney General has not personally authorized the death penalty in any case since he assumed office in March. And third, the Justice Department withdrew capital punishment requests in 7 cases. The New York Times says these 3 things signal an overhaul, even though the Justice Department has not announced policy changes in how or when the government seeks the death penalty. And there is proof that it may happen in the future, since the president promised it. Joe Biden's presidential campaign website stated this, quote, "Because we cannot ensure we get death penalty cases right every time, Biden will work to pass legislation to eliminate the death penalty at the federal level."
Many of you on ABC7's social media pages are also showing frustration. Many of you watching may be wondering, why is the Crusius trial taking so long to start? It's been nearly 3 years since the shooting at the Cielo Vista Walmart. So is it normal for legal proceedings to take so long? Well, let's compare the Crusius case with other mass shooting cases. Nicholas Cruz pleaded guilty after killing 17 people and injuring 17 in Parkland, Florida in February of 2018. His sentencing trial is set to start April of this year. Now, the only thing left to be decided by jurors is whether he gets life in prison or the death sentence. This will happen a little more than 4 years after the mass shooting. Nidal Hassan, accused of killing 14 and injuring 32 at Fort Hood, Texas in November 2009. His trial began August of 2013. That's also 4 years after the mass shooting. He remains on death row. James Holmes, accused of killing 12 people and injuring 58 in Aurora, Colorado in July of 2012. His trial began April of 2015. That's 3 years after the mass shooting. He was sentenced to life in prison. Colorado is not a death penalty state. So yes, this can be a long process, and take into consideration that each case is different and are handled in different states by different judges. And there are a lot of variables. There are other mass shooting cases from 2018 that still have no trial dates scheduled.
But even though the federal government has not the state of Texas has already said it is pursuing the death penalty in this case. ABC7 spoke with a legal expert explaining the difference between a federal death penalty trial and a state death penalty trial.
Usually, especially in Texas, you usually see them prosecuted by the state of Texas because they have a fairly robust death penalty. And so Texas will take care of a lot of the capital prosecution work that has to happen. And even, in death penalty states, for the federal government to prosecute instead of the state government, there usually has to be some sort of special federal interest.
Lee Kravorsky is the chair of the law department at the University of Texas in Austin. The federal government's interest in the case is Patrick Crusius faces 45 hate crimes within his 90 federal charges in connection with the mass shooting on August 3, 2019. Kravorsky explains what could be causing the delay in the decision by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of Texas whether to pursue the death penalty. He says the U.S. Attorney must consult with a committee within the U.S. Department of Justice.
And that committee will decide whether to recommend a capital prosecution or not. They'll make that recommendation to the Deputy Attorney General, the DAG, and then the DAG will take that recommendation and make another recommendation based on that recommendation to the U.S. Attorney General, and the U.S. Attorney General is the ultimate decision maker in the case. And it's only once the U.S. Attorney General signs off on the capital prosecution that the federal prosecution can go forward when they're seeking the death penalty.
Aside from cases of this nature taking months and even years to prosecute, COVID has also elongated and even stalled the process.